communicating, and what would be your advice? 30 seconds to the point. We're going to start with Daniel.
I really feel if we can relay a message just that, can I do this? Will you help me? And does it work? If you can relay that to people, because that's what we're all thinking when we first get started. So if you can relay that message within your content, within your invite, within your presentation, keep it super simple. The more fun you have, the more money you make. And I love to be able to leave, we're building this business, but we're also, building ourselves to, inspire our children and the next generation of obviously network marketers and our kids and all that good stuff. So yes, build your business, but also build yourself and look after your health and all that good stuff as well. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Rafael, what about you?
I think one of the biggest things is you have to understand that believe in yourself, because sometimes you look around the room when you get started and you look at those people that are making way more money, they're not smarter than you. So if you believe in yourself and understand that this will take time, you got to learn the skills. It's going back to what I heard. It's like
awesome.
if all you do is, having 2 years of your life to have the rest of your life. So that's what I did, like putting your foot down. And I tell a lot of people, be patient. Don't hype this up. This is not going to be the easiest things you're going to do, but it's going to be worth it. And once you learn those skills, you're going to be able to actually leverage them for the rest of your life to be able to win. So again, also being here, guys, and so many amazing leaders. And Michael, I guess we live in Calgary. Got to connect.
Thank you, Rafael. Craig.
It comes down to conviction. A question I consistently ask people, and particularly those who jump from company to company in such a short time, is who are you becoming? Because what company you choose will play a big proponent to who you become. So it's merging in and having that absolute obsession and belief, not just with a product, with a company, with the company values, who the company stands for and who do you stand for. Remember, people don't leave companies.
Awesome.
That's a massive recruitment thing. They leave people.
Powerful and deep. Mike, we'll close it up with you. 30 seconds.
Yeah, I love that, what Craig said. And I was going to say, being aligned to what you're doing is super important, because having that alignment and that connection is going to help you push through those challenges. And through that alignment is surrounding yourself with people like the people on this panel, the right people that can help you grow. But most importantly, show up as yourself. Surround yourself with the people that have done it before and can show you what to do, but show up authentically as yourself, and the rest will follow.
And that's exactly what each of you did, and I'm so appreciative for that. Thank you, Rafael, Daniel, Craig, and Mike. And we're going to continue the conversation, but before, we're going to hop into a commercial.
All right, I wanted to welcome everybody back. It's great that we've had such great panels. We kicked off with Todd Falcone, one of the trainers I've known forever in this industry. I actually coached him like 25 years ago. So it's been just a great, in that last panel, to really look at how we are as leaders, how we think of things, how we handle the change, the not change, the ins, the outs. Part of what we wanted to do too is we always want to tell you that we have another show coming up in April. So we want to let you know about that. And also, if you want more information or see really what we're doing, get on a phone call with us and get on a phone call with Jeff. So there you go. This is really our next summit. We're very excited by it. We've hit such a stride on this because we've been doing summits for years. But we had such a call for this to really then take a look at the individual shows. And every month there'll be a different sort of concept, idea, thought, from leadership to team building to structure to the first entrepreneur to that personal development side, because that's a lot of where I come from. I came from network marketing, did really well, so I've been working from home for 27 years, but then jumped into the personal development side and worked alongside T. Harv Eker for almost 9 years. And my business partner was Tony Robbins' vice president for 18 years. And really, how do we make changes on the planet? So join us for the next one. Make sure you take a shot at that. That's great. The other thing too is meet with us, get with us. So Jeff Ross is setting up time. He's part of our team for you really to spend time with him on the phone, for you to spend time getting to know him. And you want to make sure you do those reach outs, you get to know him, you get to see sort of what we're about and future plan. These are the events we have coming up, because we have so many virtual events and live events, and we have events in the United States. We're looking right now to start some events in the Gold Coast in Australia. We've done Singapore. Obviously, we've done events around the world. So it's really a great time. And with that being said, the other thing too is how we look at it all and how we really put it together. And if you take a look at all the businesses out there and what everybody's doing, it's one team, one family. And the more we do that, the more we just get together and help and support, we are the biggest foundation out there. One of the, if you take a look at all the businesses and you put them together, it's one of the largest conglomerate groups on the planet, and could really create a difference and really realize, how are we helping each other? How are we making a difference? How are we making that change so we make a better planet? And as a better planet, that we all come together as one. And I think that's that greatest piece. From my perspective, I'm vice president of the Los Angeles Tribune, which means I'm part of a media conglomerate, right? I'm also part of leadership in many different organizations. And I'm also taken around the world to speak, like I did at the conference in Japan last year in AI. They brought me over. I spoke to the government. I spoke to every media organization over there. And then at the big conference. It's how we pass the information, how we stay in the know at the same time, really stay on target, stay on focus. And are we helping people? Always ask that question. Did you be of service? Were you a servant leader? And that's been a great part of today. And I'm so excited to have this as such a spectacular day it's been. So without any further ado, another thunderous round of applause for our next great speaker and our host, Jenny Lopez. Jenny, you're just doing amazing today.
We're rolling.
Rock and roll. All right, I'll leave it up to you.
Awesome. And I can't wait to meet our next guest. Please make sure that we welcome this. Yes, Beck. Yay, Beck, you are there. Awesome. She has really teaching people. She's a leading voice on telling people how to do network marketing these days. And she calls it modern attractive marketing, which I can't wait to learn from it. Over 14 years of experience. And she teaches a lot of people how to do this in a way that you're not in burnout. You do it with strategy. You're intentional with it. And you also have the confidence to do it. So welcome back to the show. And you're muted, by the way.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing amazing, Beck. Welcome to the show. I would love to learn a little bit about your journey and how you came upon modern attractive marketing and what does that really look like?
Okay, I love it. Hi, Jenny. Nice to see you. Nice to see everybody. Thank you guys for having me. So I've been in network marketing for just about 15 years now. And 15 years ago, I kind of fell into it. I spent a couple years after college in the corporate world in New York City and very quickly realized that I'm not the type of person that you can put in a box. It just doesn't work for me. So while I was, sitting in the box, I started researching different ways to earn money on my own terms and, looked at different ways I could become an entrepreneur. And through that path, I actually found health coaching. So I started my own health coaching business and started going to networking groups and just putting myself out there to grow that business. And through those networking groups, I met somebody that was in network marketing who, wanted to sell me some products and recruit me onto their team. And to be very honest with you, being from a big city, I didn't know very much about the industry. I did not have any preconceived ideas. So we went out to coffee and I saw it and I was like, yeah, this looks great. Sign me up. I was probably the easiest sell that ever ever existed. So that was about 15 years ago. And I was pregnant at the time with my oldest daughter, and just looking for a way to bring in income from home with flexibility without people telling me what to do. So I built the old school way for my first 7 years in the industry. And by old school, I mean, I did pretty much anything you could think of. Like, I always like to refer to myself as the most coachable person in the room. And if you tell me that something works, I'll go do it. So at the time, my upline actually recommended that I go door to door with a bucket of cleaning products. And I did it.
Nice.
So, yeah. In New York, I went door to door, knocking on people's doors, and it was humiliating. But at the same time, I learned so much, and I actually gained some new customers through it. So after about 7 years of just trying all the different things, I decided to really spend some time learning social media and attraction marketing. And I really wanted to find a way to do this in a way that actually like felt good and felt aligned for me. I was spending a lot of time outside of the house with 2 little kids. I think the big turning point for me was I missed like my daughter's first soccer game to go to an event that nobody showed up to.
Oh,
and I was like, all right, there's got to be a better way. So I really hired some coaches and immersed myself in learning the digital marketing skills. And that was, probably like 9 years ago now. And within a year of learning those skills, I just completely transitioned how I ran my business and very, very quickly scaled from, those early kind of like mid-level ranks to the very top rank in my company.
Well, I was reading about you, and when you're talking about the old school, also the top 100, right? I'm sure you also follow them, follow up with them. So when it comes to, you're redefining how all of this is done, and you refer to this term of modern attracting marketing. Can you define what that actually is?
Yeah. So what I mean by that is most people in network marketing, when they first get in, they're usually told to go make their list of 100 people, right? And go talk to people. And most people in their first conversation experience rejection. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're all going to get rejected. We're in sales, right? Like rejection is a part of sales. But when somebody's very new to it, and that's the first interaction they have, it's the reason why most people quit before they even get started. So what I love about modern attraction marketing and what it actually means is teaching people how to build a presence and a brand on social media so that when you are sharing about things, people actually are raising their hand and saying, hey, I'd love to learn more about that. So rather than your first conversation being a rejection conversation, your first conversation is actually somebody raising their hand and saying, that sounds really cool. Can you tell me more about it?
Love it. That's awesome. And actually, I love social media. So you had me as social media.
Love it.
So in your experience, tell me what are some of the bad practices that you're seeing out there that still people feel salesy and pushy and please pick me versus, like you say, attracting? And what is the kind of content that is actually working? So if you can give like what not to do and what to do, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So I think anything that feels like an advertisement is not going to work, right? So if you're just like jumping on social media and posting a graphic that your company made for you with like the promotion or the sale that's going on, right? Or even like an informational graphic where it just kind of like bullet points the product, right? If that's what you're posting on social media, people are going to just scroll by, right? They're not going to stop and look. But if you really learn how to share your own story, right? And the things that you're passionate about and the things that matter to you, and you bring your personality into it, whether you're funny or you're deep or, you're soulful, whatever it is, like if you bring your own personality into it and your own story and talk about the things that matter to you, that's when you're going to start actually pulling people in and attracting them. It's kind of like, you can think about it just in terms of like real life, right? Like if you and I met at a coffee shop and I immediately started trying to sell you something, you'd be like, girl, go away, right? We met at a coffee shop and we started having a great conversation about something, and we started connecting and getting to know each other, and it naturally came up what I do and something that I have to offer, that you would probably be like, oh, cool, like tell me more about that, right? So online and offline are actually very similar. For some reason, though, when we come online, we like to just like plaster everything like an infomercial, but we have to think about it the same as it would be in an in-person conversation. It's really about connecting and telling your story, and, you know, being somebody that actually has a perspective and something to say.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And I love it, the whole analogy of you and I being in a coffee shop. What is the mix? So I'll tell you why. When I built my company, I went towards, I don't want to be that salesy person. And I just went empowering. I was the biggest cheerleader out there, and people joined. They love that. Hey, I can do it. But they're like, oh no, I don't need help. You told me I can do it, so I don't need help. So I went way too much with empowering content versus really saying how I can help. So how would you coach somebody like me?
That's I love that, right? Because it's definitely something that I think is the comfort zone for people, is not selling. And we have to remember that we're in sales. Like, you guys know that, right? Like, network marketing is a transactional sales business. So you have to sell and you have to be comfortable selling. But the difference is, again, like selling through your story and through real life examples and through using your personality versus it being just like a straight up advertisement. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with selling. You should sell, right? Like, you guys should be out there selling your stuff every single day, but do it in a relatable way. Like, be a human while you sell.
Yes, I love that. Well, now you're inspiring me. Your question inspired me to another question, right? Because now we are in the AI world where some people are going all the way to AI to the point that it doesn't even feel human anymore. The content doesn't feel human, or the interactions in DM do not, feel human. So how are you integrating AI in a way that it helps you, but it doesn't, stop that human connection?
That is like such a great, important question. I am the biggest fan of AI. I'm like actually totally nerding out on all the different ways I can use AI right now to grow my business, right? Like, and I'm really learning that we don't even really understand AI. Like, even if you think you really know it, it's growing so fast, right? So there's so many ways that we can be using AI to support our network marketing business. And I could talk about that for 10 hours if you want to. But here's the thing, is that if you're using AI to help you write your social media posts, you have to be really, really careful of making sure that you do not sound like ChatGPT.
True.
Because I don't know about you, Jenny, but I can tell. Like, when I'm scrolling, when I'm scrolling social media, I can literally tell if ChatGPT wrote that post for you, down to the structure of your sentences. Right? Like, there's certain phrases that ChatGPT uses all the time. There's like the 3 boom, boom, boom in a row that over and over again. Exactly, right? Exactly. And then there's certain words that it uses a lot. So I love using it to help me write content, but for me, it's more of a brainstorming tool than a copywriter.
I love it.
Right. And I love to say this, and I won't say the R-rated version on here. I'll say the PG version on here. But AI is not your boss. It's your biatch. Okay?
True. Yeah.
So we have to remember that we're in charge. Okay. AI does not know more than you. It might know more than you in some ways, but it's not a better writer than you are.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to make sure that you're writing your own posts, but use it to brainstorm ideas. Use it to edit your posts too. That's fine. But go through it after AI edits it and make sure that it still sounds like you and looks like the way you write and doesn't look like a ChatGPT post, because I think people are so aware of the fact that they're not connecting with a real human and a real human's thoughts that they literally scroll by when they see it. I know I do. So I think in this world of AI, it's really important to remember to keep your human touch on there, because AI can make us better, faster, stronger, but it cannot replace who we are, our ideas, our thoughts, and that connection.
Absolutely. Beck, you should have in your merch something that says AI is my biatch. And that's how you're going to live from now on.
I'm so into it. All right. We're doing it. We're doing it, Jenny.
but I love it. I know, because at the beginning of AI, I tried to save time and do a lot of, copy paste and sound whatever it told me, and it didn't perform as well as whenever I just grabbed the camera. I was inspired and saying something. So let's talk about social media from the perspective of the person who's just starting, and
Okay.
maybe they see your social media profile like, oh, it's too late. I'm too late for the game. There's no way I can really be successful because I'm just starting. And then, the whole thing about what are the metrics that truly, truly really move the needle in the business. It's not the likes, it's not the number of followers. I would love for you to share a little bit of that.
So I actually think there's never been a better time to be a new content creator, because the platforms have all become very generous with new accounts and pushing out content.
Awesome.
So, like 5 years ago, that wasn't the case. It was like, if you didn't have a whole bunch of followers, it was really actually hard to get your stuff out there. But TikTok changed all of that. TikTok created this super generous algorithm that made average people into creators. And then everyone was so excited about it that everyone was going over to TikTok. So then Instagram was like, hey, wait a second, we're going to make our algorithm more generous too, right? And then Facebook became a platform that you can actually grow a following and an audience on from your personal profile. So it doesn't matter what platform you choose. There's so much opportunity right now to grow a new account from scratch. In fact, I have people that I coach that have been on the same account for 10 years, who sometimes I coach to start from scratch.
Wow.
Seriously. And their new account grows so much faster than their existing account did, because the algorithm actually pushes out new accounts that have a very clear message.
Okay.
Like much faster than they're going to push out in an existing account that they're confused what the message is. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I never thought about it that way. So thank you for bringing that up. And then when it comes to metrics, what are really the metrics that truly
matter?
That matter? Yeah.
Yeah. So DMs.
Okay.
That's the most important.
Yeah,
well, like conversations with people, right? So it's great to get shares are amazing, because that means somebody is sharing your content with their network, right? So that's going to get you into other people's networks. Saves are great too, because it means that people actually find what you're posting valuable. Likes are fine, right? Like we all like a like. It makes us feel good. It fills our ego. But at the end of the day, if you're not having conversations with people, you're not closing.
Yes, that's it.
Right. So if you can get into a rhythm where your posts, and mostly probably your stories, are creating consistent conversations with people, you're going to be selling.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, at some point in my business, I was following too many things. And somebody asked me, what is the one thing that moves the needle? And it's like you say, it's reaching out, communicating with people in DM. So that's extremely powerful. As you grow your business, where is the point that you go from hustle to really building something that is systemic, and then it doesn't require so much of you?
That's a great question. And I want to answer this in a very responsible way. Because I think that we glamorize this idea of like hustling hard and then never having to hustle again. And I don't think it's true. I think that in your early years in business, in this industry, you definitely have to hustle. Like you have to work hard, and you have to be hungry, and you have to go for it. But I remember like early on in my, career in this industry, I had this kind of vision of this like hammock lifestyle, right? Where it's like, one day I'm never going to have to work. And now it's actually more like lying in the hammock with my laptop, right? Because like the dream for me, and I don't know if anyone here can relate to this, but the dream for me is to have so much that I don't have to work, but be so passionate about what I do that I never want to stop. So I think that's the goal. And when I look at what I'm building, it's allowed me a different type of lifestyle, right? Like, I have kids, I'm home, we travel the world together. I work from home. I don't really miss a lot because of that. Yes. But at the same time, I put in the reps, right? I put in the reps back then, but I put in the reps today too. So I think that if you have that dream of hustling hard now and then never hustling again, I think that's a scam.
Yeah, I love that. I love how real you are, Beck. At some point, you and I need to hop on a coffee chat and be
Let's do
those
it.
10 hours. Yes, yes. Thank you so
I
much
love
for
it.
your wisdom. Absolutely. Thank you, Beck. And Jeff, thank you for joining us. I believe
No,
we're
thank
transitioning.
you. That was an amazing interview. Well done, Jenny. And Beck, it's great to connect with you. And I just love that saying. I think you've got to get it, definitely got to get some merch going, you know, and a hat and a shirt. AI is my bitch.
I'm doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Biatch. You got to get it right. Biatch. I love it. All right, guys. Thank you very much, Beck. It's been an absolute pleasure
Thank you,
having
Beck.
you here. Thanks, Jenny. We're going to continue the show. I'll say goodbye to Beck and say goodbye to Jenny. And I'm going to bring up our next guest and our last for best guest up here, Miss Hadiatu Dumbuya. As soon as she turns her camera on, let's bring up Hadiatu. How are you, Hadiatu?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Hey, it's so good to reconnect. I know we got to meet each other in person in Mexico. What was that about? Probably 2 years ago now, was it?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
So it's been a minute, right?
It's time to run that bad boy back, okay? It's time to run that
I
back.
know. It's you know, those memories that we make along the journey and the people that we connect with. That's what I love about this space, and it really is true about how our network is our net worth type sort of conversation. You don't really realize how much power that has until you sort of get, you know, a few years under your belt and a few connections that are worthwhile keeping. And Hadi, I love that we've stayed in touch. So thank you very much for saying yes, being on this call today.
For sure. And I appreciate that you're consistently giving back to the community in general. You know, sometimes people will be a part of a company and they only care about their income and their check. And we've never really even financially benefited each other, but we've built together and we've brainstormed together. And that's what this industry needs to get to, because that's how we'll be able to build the credibility and actually give people a chance to get out of the situations that they're in. And so you are foundational in that. And so I appreciate you for that, Jeff.
Thank you. And when we sat down and we worked out, like, what are we going to do something different for the industry? But the main goal was here is how can we help unify the industry?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of our speakers that we've heard from today, and normally only ever see them in their company retreats or their events and that type of thing. But so how can we bring these amazing speakers together on one platform where we can just all be of service to the industry? That was the main goal here. And so I want to talk a bit about that conversation. You know, we've heard from Ed and Bart from ASEA and a few other leaders here in this this conversation today. It's been a 5-hour conversation, but the main through line is this whole conversation around servant-hearted leadership. You know, how can we be of service? But it's the law of reciprocity too, right? You know, but we don't go give to gain. It's just that's the byproduct of it all. I love to, you know, speak to that wisdom, if that's okay, because you've got a couple of decades in this space in yourself now, and so what does it to mean to be of service, to truly be of service?
Yeah, so it's so crazy, Jeff, you know, and this goes back to how I even got into this industry. First of all, I believe in being in the right place all the time. So right place, right time is something that I've always said, because there are no mistakes. Every place that you go, every person that you meet, it was designed, and it's your job to figure out why you were placed in that situation and why you met whoever you met, right? And so when you talk about serving first, here's how my brain works. I think of when I got into this industry years ago, do you know, Jeff, I got into this industry simply because I was going to donate my kidney to my brother.
Wow.
This is how it worked. I mean, I was working with professional athletes. I was running my own business. My life looked very glamorous. And I was in Cincinnati, Ohio, instead of Detroit, where I live, because I was doing all the last testing to donate my kidney. And that's when I was able to meet the person and be open to the person that introduced me into this industry. So I was introduced to this industry because I was doing what? Serving first. I've learned very early, even just for connecting in general. And I cannot remember who said it, because I'll never remember who says what, but somebody said it. Okay. somebody said the best way for you to keep a connection is for you to serve first.
Yeah.
For you to build long-lasting, meaningful relationships, which is what our industry is for you to serve first. And so everything that I do is with soul. So the S in soul for me is to serve first. Literally, I have this written down. Like, that's how I always think, is like, how can I help those? How can I listen to what you're going through and be able to give you a solution to what you're going through in a way that allows you to shine the way you're supposed to?
Amen.
So I'm thinking that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just relate. It's just, I love how some of these conversations, you know, just flows sometimes, and you know, it just all connects the dots. You know, I put up a post just actually a couple of hours before this event, and basically the post was, if God is making you wait, then do what waiters do, go serve.
That's right.
You know, so
right.
like you could find the purpose in that being of service, you know, and how you can make a difference to the greater good. And I think this is all about the pre-frame conversation, right? It's you know, when we're being of service versus just trying to get my gain and just in it for me, it sets up the conversation, it sets up the tone for a different dialogue.
It does.
You know, and it goes from just always, you know, stop being take to actually you know, plant seeds. And so, you know, a lot of this networking conversation, I think a lot of people do it a lot of backwards. And I know I'm guilty of doing it in the very beginning as well.
Yeah.
You know, we're always looking for, you know, how can we harvest versus how can we go plant seeds so there is always a harvest to be harvested. So I love to just unpack that with you, because I know that you're brilliant at this, and the way that you build your connections and the way that you build your relationships and the way that you stay connected with people. So how can, you know, what's some wisdom that you can share with us? How can we, you know, go plant seeds and build those relationships? But more importantly, how can we continue to nurture those relationships? So there is a big, beautiful harvest at the end of it. And we're all, you know, doing this for the greater good, and we're all being of service to that conversation.
So I think you have to start with the end in mind. And so, you know, my end goal for life is to do what I was called here to be, which is a servant. And so because my end goal isn't to make $1 million in direct sales or network marketing, I operate in that way. I mean, the connections that I make are not always for me. They're not always to share what I have. It could be for the other people that are within my network. That's huge. I mean, I was blessed enough to speak at a women's event today from another young lady that I've met in this industry, and we're not even in the same company at all. We're actually in different companies in the exact same, we sell the same stuff.
Yeah, right.
But we literally understand that what our end goal is to help more people live the life that they were put here to live in general.
There you go.
So our connections stay because of that. Now, I have had some connections that I've tried to foster, but we weren't aligned, right? And being able to know that when you're not aligned with somebody and they don't have the same end goal as you, that you're able to easily say, all right, cool. I was placed here to meet this person so I can start recognizing who I don't need to work with. So how do you keep fostering those kind of relationships is that you work on yourself so that you can have discernment in your relationships and you can understand why somebody is placed next to you, and you can figure that out sooner rather than later.
That's beautiful.
So yeah, so I think that's how it works for me. Like I don't meet people and I'm like, oh, they're gonna fit over here. I meet people and I'm gathering everything that they are. I'm thinking of how I can solve a problem that they have in their life in general, not with what I have as a product, but in general. And then everything ends up working out along the way because you have the right intentions behind it. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. And so what I'm picking up here is you've got to be clear on your goal, your direction, but it's not just about my own personal gain. A lot of people get into this business and this opportunity because they want it. They see the dream that they're sold, right? You know, I can make money online. I can travel the world and get paid for that. Or I can, you know, go lose weight and get paid for that. You know, whatever it is. But it's normally about you know, and let's face it, it's normally about the selfish gain to start with. Sure. And that's okay. It is part of what it is. It's the truth.
Especially at the beginning.
Yeah,
right?
especially
like, I mean, we got to be real with what it is. You still got to make some money, honey.
Right. No, you still got to make pay the bills so you can break free from that job and all of that. Yep. So, you know, it's okay to be that, but I think the ones that really have the long-term longevity in this game and the ones that have the biggest success in this game, it's something that's bigger than themselves.
For sure.
But in saying that, you've got to understand what it is in for yourself to start with. So, don't try and, make this bigger than what it already is. Meet people where they're at on the journey and connect with them where they're at. But one of the things you just mentioned there is getting crystal clear on what that alignment looks like. And so I want to unpack that alignment conversation, because for me, when I hear alignment, I'm clear on what my mission, my vision, and my actions are. Yep. And that helps me to be in alignment.
For sure.
But what does alignment mean for you?
So one of my girlfriends, the one that I'm actually here with, her name is Pam. She said something years ago in a presentation, and Pam said, your gut is God's undeniable truth. Okay. And that's alignment. So you already know it, and you feel it right away.
Yeah.
From the opportunities that you're in to the interactions that you have with people, your gut lets you know when you're feeling good about something. Your gut lets you know this is where I'm supposed to be. That's alignment for me. Alignment for me means that I'm able to own my story and feel good about it, and I don't have to change it at all. I don't have to add any fillers to it to make it sound better than it is. I get to be me, and you've spent time with me. I'm me 1000% of the time. I might curse every once in a while, y'all. So calm down, okay? If you hear something, calm it down.
Hadiatu is a lot of fun to be with too. Like what you see here on screen is exactly what you get, in person.
It's never changing. This is it, and that's alignment for me.
Yeah.
From being in companies that allow you to be that, and when you feel like something is off, being able to sit back and not push just to go get that other dollar, so that you can observe and figure out what's going on.
So that's powerful right there. Let's dig into that, because then once you've got alignment, I feel that you can have discernment. You can't really have discernment without alignment, but but it does. You talk about that gut, that intuition. Oh, I got goosebumps right now. You got that gut intuition sort of impact conversation. And that is sort of like how we get guided on journey, from the universe, God, I call it God, in that space, and to keep us on track. And I know that the times that, when I've gone off track, it's when my ego has kicked in and I've tried to take control and I get the cosmic boot up the arse sometimes to get me back on track.
Yeah.
I think that keyword discernment is very powerful here in this conversation too. I'd love to unpack your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think that sometimes people get, even with discernment, I feel that people get confused because if there's a struggle, that doesn't mean that it's not right for you. Right. So sometimes people are like, well, this is too hard. This is getting a little bit too hard. And so maybe it's not right. It's not necessarily that. Again, it's about this, although success likes speed, which it does, it wants you to move quickly. You have to know yourself well enough. Jeff, this has been for me, being in this industry for the years that I've been in, I've had multiple times that I've had to tell myself to sit still. And if money is no longer a motivator, am I in the right place?
Powerful question.
Yeah. If I can sit still and think about, because then that means I could share this with my mom. Is what I have good enough that I could share this with my mother? There you go. That's how you know.
That's a good benchmark. That's a great benchmark. Yeah. And so, you're talking about basically identity formation, in this conversation. I actually just wrote my first book. Can you believe it? I'm about to publish it. It's called You Don't Need to Shout. And, in that book, I start off exactly with this conversation. I had to go through my own identity crisis, if you will, to figure out who I am and how I can be of service in that space. And my mentor now, one of my mentors is Mary Glorifield, who works with Tony Robbins. She's the former EVP for Tony Robbins and did all the stages and all around the world. And one of the things that I remember, Mary saying was that just about everybody you see on stage who's got some sort of success has had to go through and figure out themselves first. They've had
a couple of times, Jeff, a couple of times too, right? Like, that's not even just a one-time situation.
No,
you might have to figure yourself out 4 or 5 times based off of life.
And this is where we learn to, if you understand that, we learn to be grateful for our trials and tribulations, because they're the character building things, right? But where I'm coming around here and come full circle is you've got to fall in love with being yourself. And something I've always admired about you is exactly that. Like, you love you can see that you love yourself and the skin that you're in and how you show up. And I've always admired about that about you. And to be able to really truly love others. Like, my question here is like, well, it's more of a statement, but then I'll come back to the question. Like, you can't really love others if you don't love yourself. And you can't really love yourself if you really don't love something bigger than yourself, i.e. something like God, right?
That's right. I agree.
And, you know, I know that through myself, you know, by understanding this conversation intimately, it helped me to get out of my head and really just own who I am and get out of that performance anxiety, you know, trying to show up and be someone who I'm not, type sort of thing. I see it all the time on social media, and I'm guilty. I used to do it myself.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure you do too, right?
Yeah, yeah. Even imposter syndrome, right? Like, you feel like you're not good enough, but like, you are enough, period. Because there's somebody out there that needs to hear your story, your struggle, that transparency from you, for them to be able to get activated, for them to find their circle and be aligned, you know? So, yeah.
I love that. So I know that you've mastered social media and attraction marketing in your own right too. So I want to speak to just probably the last 5 minutes here of this conversation to that part, and speak to our audience who maybe have that that self-sabotaging fear of failure, the fear of, you know, rejection, or whatever fear it is that's stopping them from getting on and just having a conversation like this on camera, and, you know, get out of their own way, get past that performance anxiety, if you will. What are some of the things that people can own and learn to love themselves, and learn to just to get out of their own way, and learn to get in the game and take massive action?
Yeah, so there's a couple things you got to think about here first. So once you know why you're doing something, it allows you to activate in a different kind of way, right? And so I think what scares most people about showing up is thinking that somebody's going to judge them. It's not going to be perfect enough. Like, am I qualified to do this? And if you are here to serve first, if that's truly what your goal is, then you start understanding that somebody needs your voice, and only your voice.
Yeah, powerful.
Only your voice. There's nobody else that's going to be able to get them to move but you. And once you start realizing that, and it might just be that one person that needs you to show up today, that will change you. If you're a true servant, you're like, okay, I'm helping. So people don't feel like they're helping sometimes on social media, because they're thinking, I'm selling, I'm forcing myself. No, you're serving somebody, your tribe, whatever that tribe looks like.
What's the intention behind the objective? Yeah.
That's what changes how you feel about it. And I mean, I can't tell you that I have not struggled with that at times. I mean, I've transitioned companies a couple of times. So that was hard for me to figure out, how do I want to show up and serve people, right? So that life has transitioned drastically for me in these last 2 years. I mean, in major ways, right? So as that life shift was happening, I'm a little different. I think what happens is, even once you start showing up, when you change, you feel like you can't show up as this new version, not realizing that everybody's changing.
Yeah,
you guys, this last couple of years have been very transitional for everybody in the world. The economy is very different.
I've heard it said, when you go through like transformation, that we rise and fall to the level of our leadership, you know, our systems, that type of thing, right? And I know I've had to go through, you know, you talk about, you know, that identifying your character 4 or 5 times over, if not probably 4 times more, you know, as we go, right? So as you've gone through your transitional period in this last couple of years, what are some of the fundamentals that you've had to fall back on?
So I had to get really strict on my morning routine again, Jeff. And I don't know if you guys all have a morning routine or not, but what I realized is that the day will get the best of you unless you get the best of it. And so I had to figure out, what were the things that were non-negotiable as I got up in the morning? What are the things that I need to hear? So if anything else happens in this crazy world, that I will still be calibrated and so focused on the things that I said that I needed to do. And so, for some people, that looks like, maybe you're going to do like a little bit of movement, a little stretch. And so I make sure I have like my Apple Watch so I can make sure that I'm moving, right? So maybe it's a little bit of movement to get your body flowing, your blood flowing. Then for me, it's a moment of prayer. However you pray, meditate, prayer, meditation, whatever that is, give yourself a couple of minutes. Listen, there's 24 hours in a day. And if you can't give yourself 2 or 3 minutes of it, you're never going to be successful. Okay. And I will say that. And I know I don't like to do absolutes, but I'm doing one right now. That's an absolute. Yeah. You got to give that to yourself. For me, I also have to listen to something motivational, right? So whether that's like a quick podcast, maybe it's music for some people, but it's something so that before anything comes in, before I do a phone call, before I scroll my phone, that I've already got my mind set on taking over the things that I said that I needed to do. And so having that morning routine, Jeff, that's always what I have to go back to.
Very powerful.
Over and over again. Go ahead.
My current mentor, Michael Silvers, who's actually helping me to co-produce this event today, he was actually just doing a coaching session on this the other day. It was basically, you're 10 before 10.
Yes.
So like, what are your 10 non-negotiables? Get them done before 10 a.m. So the rest of your day is, set up for success. I love that. So look, we've probably got about 1 more minute left. And so I love to just give you the mic. What are some of the final words of wisdom you'd like to help close this conversation out with today?
Cool. So I started with soul and I'm going to end with soul. That's how on this new journey and this new path that I'm on, everything that I am doing is literally based on soul. And I'm doing that because I operate in that way, but I cannot say I've always built fully in that way. Right. So it doesn't matter where I'm going to build, what businesses I have. I have multiple businesses outside of, direct sales. So when I think of that, the first thing you said, and you started this is how I know we are in alignment. This is how I know I'm supposed to be here, even though I'm super tired, guys. I just spoke earlier today at an event. It's serve first. That essence soul is to serve first. It's to listen and to solve problems. That's what you're here for in general. Because if you start doing that consistently, you will attract others that do the same with and for you. Like how sometimes people are like, there aren't any more people that are like me, giving people that help others. Well, there aren't any because you talk that way.
Yeah.
But I believe that there are over and over again. The O in soul is to own your unique story. My story was always that I worked in sports and then I started my own business and it looked super glamorous. And I got into this industry and I was able to take care of things for my family and I've traveled all over the world. That was my initial story. My story has changed. I went from, being married for 12 years and thinking I had that piece of my life together and that identity to now being divorced and having to figure that out and moving to a brand new city and starting everything over. Own that. There are other people that are in their second act in life. They need to hear that. So it's owning that. Like my struggles, that's going to get me my success. That transparency allows people to feel that they could relate, right? And then the you and soul is to uplift others. Celebrate people. It doesn't matter if they're in another company, right? Whatever accomplishments, if you follow me, you'll see even in my stories, anytime I see one of my friends doing something, I'm just going to share it. Like, how does that hurt you? The people that you're working with, celebrate them publicly and privately. Give them a call. People die for recognition. We know that in this industry. So consistently uplift others within your own organization, what you're doing, and on the outside. Because again, what do you do? It's the law of attraction. You're going to attract more people doing the same with them for you. And last, lead with your lifestyle. See, I've been blessed to do very well in this industry, but I'm not the girl that wears like Gucci and Prada. Like that's just not Hadiatu. Like I would rather spend that taking care of something for my parents, going back to Sierra Leone and spending time. Like I have other things that I'd rather do. So how do I share my lifestyle? The fact that I take care of myself, right? Like that's important for me. The fact that I make sure that I give back. So while I lived in Detroit every single Wednesday, we were giving back to those that were less fortunate. Middle of the day, no matter what, cold is out. No, what if you've ever been to Detroit? It's a cold place now. Okay. Making sure to do that. That allows people to see that you don't have to be a certain kind of person. You have to be a good person. And I said that when I got into this industry years ago, Jeff, I had seen a lot of people make a lot of money from being in sports and entertainment for so long that weren't great people.
Yeah.
And so there were pieces of me that felt like you had to not be a good person to win. I've even seen not so great people in this industry win. And I told myself, I ain't ever doing that.
Yeah.
I'm going to work with people that don't benefit me because it feels good and it feels right.
Yeah,
I'm going to truly and authentically be Hadiatu Dumbuya every single day. You're not going to get another version of it. You're going to get this.
I love that.
So that's what I would leave with everybody, for you to start building with a little bit more soul, serve, make sure you own your story, make sure you're uplifting others, and make sure that you lead with your lifestyle, the things that make your soul happy.
That's
back to you.
Yeah, very, very important part there, especially bringing in the lifestyle conversation, because that helps you to be unique and be authentic and own your story and own your position. I love that. That's actually a really good, just a little sort of final nugget of wisdom here for this conversation. But what you've just done for me, Hadiatu, is you've helped me to go back and reflect on how I can go from good to great and just do a bit of a reset on my own stuff. So thank you. I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Well, Hadiatu, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for saying yes, even just coming off the back of a big day and helping us to close out this amazing summit. I really appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you so much, Jeff. And I appreciate everybody that organized this, because we all need it in a major way. So you guys have a great rest of the morning, night, afternoon, wherever you are in this world. Enjoy that. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. All right. Well, I'm going to bring up my co-host here to help us to close out this amazing conversation. I'm even going to bring up our tech guy here, because we do want to give some recognition and shout out. Dave, thank you very much for helping behind the scenes and making this another amazing event in the can. And we've just got so much value and wisdom in this conversation. So thank you, Dave. Just quickly, Dave, in the next 30 seconds, mate, what was the number one golden nugget for you, mate? And you're muted. You're muted, Dave. Dave, unmute yourself.
There you go. See, I'm practicing being quiet in the background. I guess for me, it's just amazing to see all these amazing people come together from all over the world, and not one of them was pushing their own agenda. It was great to see that they were, all here to be servant-hearted leaders like they were preaching, and just turning up for the community and blessing us with this opportunity for the last 4.5 hours or so of listening to all this wisdom. I've got a notebook full of gold nuggets, and I could basically write a book from it, I think. So yeah, it was just amazing to see all these people turning up and practicing what they preach.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Dave, for all of the way you serve the community here today. Really appreciate you. And Jenny, just quickly, what was the final highlight for you?
3 things: consistent action, intentional action, and authentic connection. Boom.
Said it all. And what about yourself, Michael? Michael, just before we go.
What a great day. Yeah, we, really, there was so much learning in here. I love just the servant leadership. To me, that just stands out, because it's everything that we talk about of being of service, and it, coming from one of my first mentors in this industry. So that was great to hear that it hasn't changed over 20, for him, it's, 50 years, but, and some stories that I sort of knew, but didn't know, like the Jim Rohn. I thought that was awesome. I forgot about that one. Cool. So, it's been a great day. It's been a great connection. We want to make sure that everybody on here too, we're going to flash up before we let you go, and Jeff's going to have some final comments too, to make sure you register for the next one. Because I think this is really critical, because there'll be different learnings every time. There'll be different people. Todd Falcone, there's going to be a part 2. We're going to have people like Jordan Adler and so many other big players that will be on next time. We'll have leadership. Eventually we'll have Joseph McClendon will be on one, because it will be about mindset, and on and on and on and on. So it's been a great day. And I wait to meet you all in the future, to connect with you all. Make sure you connect with us. You know how to find us. And Jeff, I'm going to let you take us out.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, thank you very much for all that you do to help, bring this as well. Like, talk about servant-hearted leadership. I think I'm learning from one of the masters at the game. So, Jenny, absolutely appreciate you being on this co-hosting journey with you. You did some amazing interviews there. That interview with Beck Static is definitely one to go back and watch. And also a bit of a huge shout out for Daryl Simmons, who's part of the team as well, who's supporting Dave there in the tech space. So yeah, make sure that you tune in and register for our next event coming up in April 23rd for our USA friends, April 24th for us Aussies, and for all of our speakers and the people who said yes to contributing to making this event an amazing production. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and thank you for blessing us with your amazing wisdom and value. That's all we have for today's show. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.